face-to-face. And I've always continued that throughout all of the work. I take time away from EAS, the office, to go work with people like Ron. And you get that opportunity. You're going to see that more and more, you guys. But personal trainers, nutritionists, dietitians, people that want, that really want to expand that role into being, to nurture somebody's well-being and to care for them. And you need a little bit more tools than just exercise and diet. And that's what I teach about in my transformation book, is the emotional fitness. Really, how do we overcome typical depression and even acute depression caused by trauma? And those are all the neat things that we get to teach. But this is really a beautiful opportunity. And we see this more and more. So we do a web TV show every week, and it's a blast. And Clarissa helps me out with it back there. And we just get to meet the most incredible people. And I get to work with people from the beginning all the way through the process. Ron is 170 pounds lighter than he was. It's been a year and a half. He talked a little bit. This was done about 6 months ago. But he teaches the karate. He's helping other people, other fathers who've lost sons because of mental injuries or physical injuries that they suffered in Iraq and Afghanistan. And that's a lot of people. And we don't see it that much on the news because it's kind of a policy not to show that side of it. But these are real people going through really tough times. But it's not to get involved in a codependent way and be a part of their sadness or a part of their trauma. It's to get in, intervene, and put them back on the right path, connect them to people who can really support them and encourage them and have been through some of the things that they've been through. So it's beautiful to see that something that starts out as bodybuilding, fitness, performance athletes is now expanding to all these people that you see in everyday life. You walk around and you see the people that their eyes aren't quite open. Their energy just isn't quite flowing. And they're on a collision course with the preventable diseases. The major preventable diseases in this country kill more than half of all of the great fathers, the great business leaders, the great moms, and it's going, starting in the 30s and 40s. Neurovascular disease, neurovascular accidents, strokes, cardiovascular disease, diabetes is a brutal condition. Does anybody know somebody with advanced diabetes? Ever been around somebody? It's brutal. All of these things are preventable through the style of living that most every personal trainer teaches. Good exercise, good nutrition, hanging around healthy people, being in an environment that supports your success, being in the right environment. And that's something that we get to share every week on our show. It's what I'm talking about in my new book, and it's what I'm talking about in a new project that I'm working on now that'll premiere at the beginning of next year. So it's constantly moving forward, but expanding the market. Expanding the market is something that I've always really, really enjoyed because it's there. And it's Australia, it's in South Africa, it's in England, all the westernized nations. And even the modern nations, China is one of them that they're getting into this. They're seeing this as an alternate and a better, beautiful way of life. So the opportunity to make money in this industry is only equal to the amount of good that you can do. If you go out, if you can get involved in something where you help that many people, where you help people to that depth and to that degree, the rewards are beautiful. There was a wonderful mentor of mine, David Hawkins, who said, Bill, he goes, happiness comes from doing this. He goes, happiness comes from doing this. And he says, the reason that you've had an abundant life and that you've always been able to create a lot of wealth for yourself and a lot of wealth for other people is because of what you're doing. You keep doing more and more, and the more people benefit, you just get the return. So it's a reciprocal thing in my mind. I know some other people might have a different model of how it works, but for me, the more you do for people, the more that's going to come back to you. The more you help people on a very real and legitimate and sincere and authentic way, the more that comes back to you. And I think that's what Josh is starting to see too. Josh has been real successful in the years since he moved on from EAS. And you can tell with Josh, he really cares. He really wants his students to succeed, and he has many students and friends who are doing well just like he is. And that's something that I think is so important for not just for you to make money, not just for you to be successful in your enterprise, but to stay healthy. It's so much of what people do to make money kills them, and that money costs too much. So I like the model where you create value for others, And in return, your life gets better and better. Healthier, funner, brighter. Your mindset is just increasingly positive. Your energy feels good. And probably most important of all is that you just feel good about yourself. There's a level of fulfillment and satisfaction that you can get from doing business the right way that you can't get any other way. And it's a beautiful opportunity. All of this is really, for me, when I see people like Ron, I remember, I don't know if we can't see the video very well today, and I apologize for that, but Ron's before picture was horrific. I had never seen somebody in all my years in such incredibly terrible shape. It was stunning that he wasn't dead. And I saw his before picture, and I remember I showed it to Clarissa, and I said, man, I don't know. I mean, this guy is an effing wreck. But he got to work. 1 month later, he was 30 pounds lighter. Another month later, he was 20 pounds lighter. Another month later, he was 20 pounds lighter. Another month after that, he went off his antidepressants. Another month after that, he was able to, cut his, diabetic medicine in half. Another month after that, he was able to start actually functioning as life again and got back to work, working as a client. And to see that happen, and to see a person grow like that, it just blows your mind. It blows your mind, and especially for me, going all the way back to where I started, which is helping bodybuilders get bigger muscles, and helping athletes run faster and hit harder. And it's really been, I'm just so blessed to have the journey. But not only that, but to have built some great brands in the process. So I'm getting it on both sides. And wherever you are in the process, I know some of you have had your careers going, like John Carlton's has an abundant career for decades, and some of you are just getting started. Believe me, if you stay with one thing, long enough, you're going to be a genius at it. You're going to be an expert, and you're going to be a genius. And nobody's going to be better than you at what you do. You have a unique gift. And for me, it was really this idea of just building fitness as part of a way of building your life. And it really, I felt that early on in the process. And those of you who read my books probably see that coming out more and more in the books. But it's truly a beautiful process. And those of you who've gotten involved in the fitness industry because you love fitness, you're a weightlifter, or you're an athlete, or you love nutrition, I'm telling you, stick with it. I mean, some people get bored with certain things, say, well, now I'm going to go into real estate, or now I'm going to go into this. We need people who have that heart, who have a passion for it, who have that authentic interest in it, and make it their career. If you're in it, stay in it. It's going to reward you because this market, like I said, is coming like a tidal wave. The number of people that are going to get involved, in fitness as an alternative to, really an alternative to pharmaceutical treatment, as an alternative to dying prematurely, as an alternative to living a life that just isn't any good. The suffering that most people go through is so unnecessary, and there's a huge opportunity there. When you see things, I know, for example, people get pessimistic when they see things like the Congress fighting with the debt crisis, people talking about how the economy is not going to be what it was, where the opportunities. None of that stuff resonates with me at all. I don't believe any of that stuff. I know that if I do my job and if I stay true to what I'm doing, there's going to be tremendous abundance. And it's always been that way. And I think it's that way in America especially, right here and now, because we don't have a real solution to the pandemic of preventable ill health that's coming up. There was a study by the World Health Organization that said that the pandemic of overweight and obesity in America will overwhelm every medical system that we know of, that we try to keep together by the year 2020. Just literally within 8 or 9 years, the health care system as we know it really won't function because there's so many people reporting with these diseases that really weigh down the healthcare system. And it counts over $140 trillion a year for the healthcare system to take care of people who take care of themselves. So when you see numbers like that, and you see the results that people get from being involved in programs that really focus on fitness fundamentals, it's a wonderful opportunity because you're going to be able to merge those more and more. And I can't think of a better place to start working and building a beautiful career. And it's like I said, it's bigger now than it was when I got started. You know, back when I started Metrex in 1991, I mean, what was it? There was Joe Weider, there was Iron Man magazine. There wasn't really, I mean, in the mainstream, you didn't have much of anything that people would be interested in. And that market has grown and expanded and transformed so much, and it's going to keep doing that. And I want to help with that. That's why I'm doing programs like this, and that's why I'm writing books about this, you know, that really appeal more and more to the mainstream to grow the opportunity. One of the things that stands between that happening is that all people that could benefit from fitness and good nutrition and exercise and inspired positive living, and the way it is now, a lot of people don't have the message. Marketing is the linchpin. Marketing is campaigning. Marketing is persuasion. Marketing is getting your message out. And so that's why some of the people that have this great marketing knowledge in this room are really, really gatekeepers for a lot of the neat things that are going to happen over the next few years. The opportunities there, again, are huge. Because if you have this information and you can't get it out, it really doesn't do any good. And that's why what Josh is teaching is really so important. And you know, I'm as much of a student as what Josh teaches as anybody else, but I'm fascinated with all the internet marketing techniques, and he's really got some great stuff. Because I grew up in a time, well, when I sold EAS in 1989, I'd never used a computer before. I mean, I'd never sent an email. I should probably go back to what worked for me. But I never sent an email. So the whole landscape in terms of how do you reach people, communicate with people, how do you connect with people has changed a lot. And that's why we're in the new media, because people are watching television programming on their computers, on their Blackberries, on their iPads, on their iPods. They're downloading from iTunes. And that's really a place where you can meet people. And marketing, and you guys know the sales letters, you know, only have, I mean, they're effective. But I think that video, the way that we can stream video on the internet now is really where I'm going, is to talk to people, connect to people, teach people, and then move people into action where they'll engage. And once they get started on this journey, they realize that they need certain things they didn't know before. Products, you know, vitamins, supplements, programs, trainers. There's a whole thing that happens once you engage them, and that's a big part of what we do. So I want to give you guys a chance to ask questions about anything you want. The last thing I want to say from my side is the idea of branding. So many of you build successful campaigns, and then you're back to the drawing board, building another successful campaign, coming up with a new product, a new pitch. And what my experience is different than that, and it's really building a brand. And with EAS, you know, we built that brand, and I started with that in 95, sold it in 99. And, you know, that brand was, I mean, it's still enduring today. And it's a great brand. But if you're building brands, then you've got an exit strategy. And so I'm not familiar with doing business in a way that there isn't an idea of an exit strategy. So with Metrex, I started that in 1991, and I got my exit in 94. Started EAS in 95, and did exit in 99. And things that I'm working on now, again, are all built with an exit strategy in mind. So probably